Today we're doing a very quick and easy tutorial for basket weave piping. I figured that was perfect for our Easter basket week theme. And I can't go into a ton of detail when I'm posting the shorts video, so I figured that today we would just look at a couple different piping tips and how to pipe a basket weave. Okay, so today I'm using chocolate ganache. Buttercream is definitely easier, but as long as you kind of just lightly like warm up the chocolate ganache, then it's easy to pipe. And we're using a Wilton, what is this? It's a 2B piping tip. So this is the basket weave piping tip. They often have the flat back here and then some ridges, and that's the side that we want facing up because that's gonna give us our texture. And then the other tip that we're gonna use today is one of my favorites. It's a 1M. I don't use this one as much for basket weave stuff, but I figured that we would look at two different type of tips because you don't always have to just use the one that's basically known for the basket weave piping tip. So let's start with the traditional one. And I'm just piping onto this board here so I can just kind of scrape it off and use it again. So I want to make sure that my bag is nice and tight up here. I just kind of twist it a few times. They also do have some things you can like clamp at the top so that it makes sure that stuff doesn't kind of leak out the top. But I always just like to do some twists, and then we want to hold our piping bag so that we're applying pressure at the top. And then we're going to have our tip, like I said, with the ridges facing up. So let me try an angle so you can see this a little bit better. So for this, we're going to start by piping a vertical line as straight as possible. I'm at a weird angle, so I'm trying to do it straight. And then we just kind of go like that. So imagine, this is like our cake surface. It's a little bit different, obviously, when you're piping like actually 3D, but that's what we're just doing for right now. And then we're going to do, I like to kind of estimate 1, 2, 3, like 4 to 5 of horizontal lines are going to go across. So start at the top and kind of go just a little bit over and then kind of cut off like that. And then I kind of space it to give this enough room. And we're going to do another one right here. Space it, and it's a little bit, here I can go just a little bit more and we can pipe over the top of it. Giving that a little bit more space. So we'll pipe right over here. So we have our vertical lines. We have it spaced where we can fit a piping tip width basically in there. And now we're going to do another vertical stripe. And we're going to do it right over the top so it covers up the edges. Just like that. Hello, thank you so much for joining. Happy Friday. We're doing some basket weave piping. A little quick tutorial today, especially for Easter, spring. Great time to kind of review how to do this technique. And then once in a while I clean it off because you can see it kind of gets a little bit frayed up there. So we can clean it off a little bit just to keep the edges a little bit neater. And then when we are going to do our next set, we're going to go right next to this and kind of try to make it look like it starts underneath here. And then we're going to do the same thing and pipe across the top of the next one. So start right there and then just keep applying pressure, release, and have it get off the piping tip. And then same thing, I think with this one, I'm going to keep kind of cleaning it off a little bit just so it doesn't get that little fraying thing happening. Right next to it. And go over. Just like that. And we'll do a couple more so you can see a little bit more of like the grid pattern it forms. So again, piping, and we could go like a little bit further probably, but I don't want to keep it so loose. And then especially if your base is the same color as the basket weave, that helps as well. But when you're actually like decorating the cake. And then we're going to pipe, and cut off. And then repeat that process again. but we're doing the obviously alternating ones this time. And then, oh, get another little. Just like that. Clean off our tip. It's a little bit repetitive, but there's something very calming about piping basket weave that, I don't know, ever since I first tried it, I really enjoy doing a basket weave. I think it's maybe the repetitive kind of pattern it forms that it just very, I don't know, I can kind of like tune out and just kind of pipe. Okay, so let's do one more set and then we can do our other piping tip. Again, this is a Wilton 4B piping tip. That is cool. Thank you so much. And it doesn't look so satisfying. I'm gonna start right next to it, pipe across, just like that. Clean off our tip. And the other tips, I'll also mention after I'm done with this last little stripey-doo here, that there are smaller ones. So this is definitely for a larger cake, but if you're doing a mini cake or a cupcake, for at least the Wilton tips, I don't know the numbers for like a Teco or Kutek, but for Wilton, they have some smaller basket weave piping tips. Oh wait, I think I have one over here. Okay, so they have two smaller tips, and this one is a 48. And you can see that compare size difference. This one actually has the ridges on both sides, but definitely smaller. But if you want even smaller detail, and it actually does have like the flat back and the ridges on top, this is a 47. So 48, 47 are the smaller versions that would be great for a cupcake or a mini cake, or just like a little small detail. But for a nice big cake, regular size, this would be a really good tip to use. There might even be a bigger tip. I'd have to look into that one, but that's the traditional. Let me scooch this on over so we can do our other tip. And this is a Wilton 1M. It's like that kind of star, kind of tight star tip. And the equivalent for this one, for a smaller one, would be the 21, Wilton 21 tip. That's one of my favorite ones to use. Okay, and then I'm just kind of making sure that my ganache is soft enough to pipe. If it gets too firm and you apply too much pressure, the bag can pop. So had that happen a time or two. So, oops, let me, my phone needs to be plugged in. There we go, got the power. Okay. So gonna do the same exact technique, but just with the different tips. So it's gonna look a little bit different. Like I said, I tend to stick to the flat one. I think it's maybe like a little bit easier, but we're gonna try this one as well. So same thing, we're gonna start by piping a vertical stripe. As straight as we can. That was a little bit off, but and then of course cleaning up the tip like I mentioned. And we're going to do the same thing where we kind of pipe right across the top. This one's a little bit, you know, thicker kind of basket look because it's like it's not flat, so it's going to be a little bit more 3D, I guess. Make sure you have space, and then another one. And then again, make sure that there's space, and I can go right at the bottom. I love when it kind of matches up perfectly for the width. Okay, and then we're gonna go right on top here and just pipe that vertical line. And then we could clean that off, but I think I can hide it because it's a little bit different. So we can just go like that right across. And just pipe right across. I think I went a little bit too long over here, but that's okay. Good pipe. Another line. And I can kind of see it over here, but that's okay because we're going to connect it. So it's still going to work out. And then same thing. Just keep piping that same pattern. And let's do like another set. The first one looks more like a basket texture. Yes, I agree. That's like the traditional one, but I have seen other people use other piping tips. So I figure we would try a little experiment with it today. Because like I said, I do definitely stick to the traditional basket weave. I think it's a little bit easier. It's also less product, like less ganache, less buttercream. And I tend to prefer that personally. I don't like it too much. But there are the options if you would prefer to try out a different piping tip. I think this one probably looks better on an actual cake, but this one can definitely like still, look like a basket weave and everything. But those are the two different tips. I think that, yeah, if I were doing basket weave, like I said, I always stick with this one. And then this one is the little bit less traditional, but still can turn out really cool. And these ones are the ones for, just a recap, if anybody, oh, hello, hi, thank you for joining. This one's a pretty quick one today, but this is our Wilton 2B tip, the traditional larger basket weave tip. And then the one that we just used for this kind of thicker one over here is the Wilton, can't really see it's the ganache, but a Wilton 1M, like that tight star tip. And a quick recap of our smaller versions. If you want to do on a cupcake or, oh, that looks so cool. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, let me try and get both of them in shot. So traditional basket weave piping tip, the 1M over here that kind of makes like a thicker basket weave effect, but you could still do the same piping technique. But that's what like this one was specifically made for, is basket weave. And then there's the smaller versions for a smaller cake or cupcake. The 48 is kind of more definitely smaller than the traditional one, but then there's also the 47 that is my personal favorite is the 47, but good to have both options. And then for the 21, or for the Wilton 1M, the Wilton 21 tip is our, if you can see that, is the good like smaller size star tip. So that is, I know that's like a super quick live for today, but I figured it would be perfect to match up with, like I said, our Easter basket week that we've had going. And it's hard for me to be able to completely explain in detail the basket weave technique. So I figured that would be perfect for our live today. I know I have shared some in previous Easter tutorials from previous years, but it's always good to recap and also, of course, like I said, try something new. I love the way it's textured like that and it has different sizes. I know, isn't it so cool? It's also like just super satisfying to pipe this one. I was mentioning earlier that I just kind of like to, I can zone out. It's like one of the few times I can just pipe and just kind of let it go. Let the stress melt away. But yeah, do we have any questions? I know this one is like one of the fastest lives that we've done, but like I said, it matched up perfectly for the Easter basket week. So I'll give it another minute or so if we have any questions to pop on there, or any other stuff in the chat, let me know. Like I said, it is Easter basket week, so we have our Easter basket cake pop for today, and then our pretzel treat for tomorrow. Savory Sunday is coming up as well. And then next week will be Easter Bunny Week, and Easter's coming like really soon. So we're on week 5 of our 8-week spring and Easter series. I can't believe it's going by this fast. Easter basket, yes. So I think this week has had some of my favorite items from the series so far. I think they just have been a lot of fun. Easter baskets are cute in general too. So can you use any bag for piping tips? Great question. You can technically use maybe like a Ziploc bag or something, but in my experience, they don't have the how do I phrase this? Structural integrity, I guess. Like when I've added a piping tip to one of them, the seams are not as strong because they're not made to have the pressure that's being applied like when you're doing a traditional piping bag. These are made so that they should last. Unless, like I said, if if the ganache thickens up, you apply too much pressure, it can still pop, it can still like bust open, but it has less likelihood than that. So I do recommend using piping bags specifically. They are like the disposable ones like this, or they do have reusable piping bags. So I definitely recommend if you're going to pipe something like this, then definitely would invest in some little piping bags if you can. I love you. Oh, thank you so much. I love you too. Thank you for joining today and hopping in the chat. Does anybody have any other questions? That was a really great question from Justice Jane. Thank you for asking. Hi. Thank you for joining. I hope you're having a good Friday. Do we have any questions on our basket weave piping technique here? I mentioned this is one of our faster lives for today, but it goes along with our basket weave theme of the week, Easter basket. So next week will be Easter bunny themed to go along with Easter bunny week. And then we have a couple more spring ones coming up. Are you gonna make chocolate Easter bunnies? Great question. I will do something, maybe not like a hollow chocolate bunnies if that's what you're thinking of, but I will be doing, yeah, definitely. We have our cake pop and we have hot chocolate bomb. So there will definitely be chocolate bunnies of some kind. Let's see, thank you for the tutorial. Of course, thank you so much for joining and asking questions. I really appreciate it. How are you? I'm doing pretty good. It's I can't believe it's April. Having a hard time, realizing how fast this year is going, but hi to you too. Let's see. Do we have any other questions? Thank you guys for popping in the chat. You're doing amazing. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I like that you guys are, I appreciate that you guys are liking all the content. And yeah, like I said, just keep an eye out for all of the daily shorts. Looks so amazing. Oh, thank you so much. Which one is your favorite? Let me know in the chat. I definitely personally always like to go with traditional, but this was kind of a fun, different one to try out. But like I mentioned, for the shorts videos, daily shorts with our Easter and spring theme weeks, and we're finishing up Easter basket week this week, and we have week 6 starting next week with Easter bunny, and then we have a couple of spring ones after that. So keep an eye out for all of the fun stuff. If we have any more questions popping in the chat, make sure to ask them now, because this is our shorter live, and we are it just happens to be shorter because this is very simple. But if we have any more questions, let's see. I think both look beautiful. Oh, thank you. I know this one was kind of like a fun, I haven't really tried out this tip very much, so I always kind of go traditional, but it was kind of fun experimenting a little bit with it. Let's see. Anything else popping in the chat before we hop off for today? Next live is same time and same day next week. So Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. And we'll be doing, like I said, something related to Easter bunny because that's our theme of the week. So I'm not seeing anything else pop in the chat. I hope you guys have a really great weekend, and I will see you next week. Like I said, in the meantime, make sure to keep checking out all of the other fun content. Wait, hold on, something. Can you say hi? Hi, Kaylee. Thanks for joining. Let's see. Bye, the first one is good. Oh, bye, Mary. The first one is good. Yeah, that's my personal favorite too. Okay, I'm not seeing anything else pop in the chats. Like I said, thank you guys so much for joining today and for hopping on and asking questions. Our next live is next week, and I hope to see you guys very soon. Have a great weekend. Bye.